All right, we're back. We're back, and it's late. Welcome back. We're gonna finish up with this mess we had on the slab here. So it's been quite a few hours of research. I got out of the day job at night, come down, did quite a few hours of research trying to determine some things. Some things worked, some things didn't, as far as getting that information. Okay, so let's go over them, because as far as the cooling goes on here, it's quite a goofy, weird story. We are going to flip on over to my LCD on screen to look at a couple things. Okay, so this isn't my motherboard, but I think it can be somewhat representative of it. Better yet, here's a cooler that's real close to mine. And if we look at that cooler, unless somebody else did the same exact mod, there's some evidence there. Not only that, somebody else, this is from a GS75, the thermal pad layout. So again, close to my board. And then MSI GS75 with a 2060. Mine has this one here has a 2070. This, what I'm saying in front of me. This is a 2070, not a 2060. It's a 2070 Max Q, not the 2060. So it's close to this. And going further down, this gentleman or person, this young lady, whoever, these people here have pictures of their cooler, and this is a new laptop that they tore down and took pictures of. And we can see that I have some of the same situations. Okay, so the board's laying reversed. Let's go ahead and flip my board to the same orientation. Okay, so this board was like this. We're going to flip it so it matches the one in the pictures. And we're going to see a couple of the same things. Okay. One, we see the Kapton tape here, as well as here. Okay. Same thing. Let's take a look there and there. Okay. Same exact place. Flip it again. We got, what are we on, LCD? We need the above. So here and where the mouse cursor is, same Kapton tape, and it had some type of thermal gum. I don't know if it was thermal paste. It was more of like a thermal gum. And sorry, but I'm going to recycle as much of it as I can. It's not like the thermal paste. Maybe it is. And the other bit of evidence I found was that it was laid out here on this part of the heat sink. And if we look at a very, very similar heat sink, we can indeed tell that there was that thermal gummy stuff in there, here. Now, the difference that I found, and this is just more evidence to tell me somebody was inside this computer. When you look at the board, you don't see Kapton tape here with thermal paste, thermal gum, nothing. All you can see is blank power supplies, coils with MOSFETs. You got MOSFETs here by them, the little black ones, and then the big gray blocks there. Those are like your coils. It's a power supply for, your computer, whether it's CPU, GPU, who knows, doesn't matter, not important in this instance. We're not troubleshooting a motherboard fault. We're just comparing stuff for evidence based on what I have in front of me. Okay, so looking at this, we can tell that they had the same thermal gunk in here. For these not these little green thermal pads, but the ones that were here. You know what? I brought this down for this specific reason. We're gonna get our old monkey brain to remember it. Okay, so if we can see this, we have this little pointer light here and along here. So along here and here are supposed to be thermal pads. And that correlates to this part of the board, okay? This part. The little green ones, here, those 5 go to these MOSFETs here, right beside the little black chips. On mine, for this part, they had thermal pads glued to each of these coils with that thermal gum, thermal glue, it's like a real thick and real sticky, tacky thermal paste. So I took and pulled it off. I attempted to clean it off, but ultimately I decided to not reuse it. Here is, and you can tell, this is definitely a thermal pad. That this side went to the actual copper of the heatsink, and then this side was stuck down to these coils. It's actually ripped one off, and you can see it's still stuck to the heatsink here. This one was stuck to the, it's the silicone part of it's still stuck to the heatsink, but it's got that thermal gum on it that was gluing it to this coil. And then here actually is the other remaining pieces of that same one. We can put them all back together like a puzzle, but no big deal. All right, so there you go. And then the missing piece is the one that's still right there. That would fit on there. Actually, it's upside down. So we'd have to flip this over. Flip this one over. Or flip this up, but then you can't see it. But anyhow, that's that story there. Looking at the pictures, we can see that this area is just thermal pads, and we can see that it is a green thermal pad. It has no paste. Let's go back out and let's go in this side here. This does have that thermal gum, thermal packy. Maybe it's thermal compound. I don't know. I don't have any more thermal pads of this thickness, but what I do have is some ordered. So this is going to have to get torn down again. Get some blue juice for the drink. We're going to go ahead and clean this up. We're going to reuse these little green thermal pads here. The blue ones. We have new blue ones coming. So all this will be replaced. New thermal paste here. We're going to be doing it twice. I just want to get it back together. Going to put that thermal gum in here. I don't want to try thermal paste. Definitely not AS5. If I had some Arctic MX4, possibly, but not the Arctic Silver AS5. No, that's it. It has an oily substance in it, and it sets up after a few days. I wouldn't want to use that in here, where it's going towards something electrically conductive. Whether it's electrically conductive or not, doesn't matter. I don't want to try it. What I do have is a slightly thicker silicone pad than this one that was glued to these coils with the thermal paste. This is probably, I believe this is a 0.5 millimeter and this is a 1 millimeter. I'm going to cut out and cover those 3 in one piece and this one in another single pad temporarily with this. Hopefully it doesn't flex and bend my copper away from making contact here on these MOSFETs. What we need to do before we reassemble anything and start cutting stuff, I already went ahead and cleaned this up. The little black surround I had to cut a new one. It was completely trashed with the amount of thermal compound that factory somebody else had put on and not cleaned off. I did use it as a stencil. Most of the adhesive there's thermal compound mixed in with it, so I cut a new one, same material. There is a little adhesive there that will let it stick down. Once it's there, it'll be under the heat sink. I'm not too worried about that popping up on that corner. If I have to, I could possibly heat gun the adhesive quick and stick it down. Borrow some off here, who knows? Point is, we're going to save this for a future stencil and make another one when we redo all this with some proper adhesive backing. I also have some of this same material on the way. For now, let's get to work. I also, off camera, I didn't have to get the microscope out. I got lucky. I wasn't even going to do this tonight. It's late. What time is it? It's 3:55 in the AM. Pulled the trackpad ribbon cable off, set it in, and snapped this in literally first go. That almost never happens. I usually break a couple of them, have to source a few more off of other motherboards if I can find ones the same. If not, if that don't work, ultimately I find a flat piece of plastic, wedge it in, and stick it down with some 3M double-sided tape. I mean, I've had to use that solution a couple times. Probably 10 times I've ever got these to go back in, snap in. This one, I put it up there and lined it up first go with the ribbon cable in place. Something I've never tried in the past, and it snapped in first go. So, possibly something new learned, something gained, I don't know. Anyhow, let's clean this up the rest of the way. I'm not too concerned. There doesn't appear to be a whole lot on this side of the board. There is some. We're going to take a moment and clean off some of this stuff. And see what we can get done. Well, I don't know whether to go up by those MOSFETs or not. That just seems like getting alcohol in that area. IPA is asking for trouble of it not evaporating, and we got to let this sit for a day or so. I do want to clean up all the thermal compound because whether it was done at the factory or somebody that was in it cleaning it up applied new, they had strings of it run across. They did this glob, came straight across, stretched it right across the board. I did clean it up partially. Yeah, it's in a sad state. So let's move that out of the way. And one final look at, yes, there was liquid inside this laptop for anybody that may doubt it. What is that? What do you call that? Yes, there's adhesive there. I understand that. But what are those spots? Here, let's kill the light so we can get a proper look. What is that? Is that stock? I don't think that's stock on the underside of this sticker. Yes, the adhesive goes there. We're not concerned about the adhesive with the tad bits of corrosion. What are these? What is all that? You know, what are those? What's that? I don't think that's a factory option, to say the least. So, take a moment, clean this up, then we'll get to the rest of the board. You know what? Let's do the board first. While it's drying, we'll get to this, and then our cooling unit. Okay, not a whole lot, but we're at least going to attempt. I definitely don't want any IPA getting under the CPU. Fair enough. Let's do it. Especially the RAM chips, but we did get some in that general area. They did get quite a bit of thermal compound on these RAM chips as well, too. So let's try and make this more workable. Probably not, but let's try. Can we brighten that? What happens if we do that and get the shine off of it? I don't know. It's just kind of disturbing that the amount of stuff, residue left on this board. Really don't see that being a factory option. Once I give it a good brush and then run over it and wipe it up a little with the swab, it seems to, the residue seems to disappear. So leftover flux. Yeah, leftover flux. Ink from an ink bottle, some type of watercolors. I have no clue. There had already been a little corrosion. I didn't want to have faith that it wasn't going to keep going. So right there is some type of clock chip, it looks like. If it's used for that, I don't know. But we definitely want this to dry. Look at our board. I don't see any other bad areas, maybe right by the GPU. In these. What do we think? We call it there? I say we call it there. That seems good. All right, on to C. Is it going to come up with a black residue or not? Are we pulling black from the plastic, or is it what was spilled on it? Let's find out. Not coming up too black. There's not much there of whatever it was. And going over it with IPA is pulling it right up. So, real corrosive substance, I do not know. But 100% there was liquid inside this machine of some sort. To what extent? I have no clue. Other than it went absolutely everywhere and a keyboard had to be replaced. One thing to make note of is if you ever have a machine that takes a bath, gets some liquid damage, and then if you know about it, okay, let me say that. If you have knowledge that your machine got a bath in whatever, and you're out trying to sell it or trade it, or you want to take it to a shop to get the part replaced, or just want it looked at to verify if it's going to be okay, and you know anything about it, let the people know that you're having a look at it, what's up with it. Because if you don't, they may not be interested in it. Like, or, that's just past experience from dealing. Not this case, just other people. We're going to try some of the higher percentage stuff here, and that's way too much. Way to go, dummy. What are you doing? So we have what appears to be a bunch of smear marks. And really, is it just pressure from us pressing down? Will it dry? Does it? It seems like it's not going to clean it up. I mean, it cleaned it off, but from us wiping, it's left around marks. But definitely not in the same respect or same shape as this splatters where. And it is. Is that just dirt? Is that left over just the tiny minuscule amounts of whatever that's not soaking in? What is that? We don't know. Regardless, we're just here cleaning it up. So let's keep on keeping on with this one. We want to really try not to hit our adhesive. We want this insulation sticker, insulative sticker to stick back down. In this case, to our logic board. So black scum, black ink, black residue, whatever it was. We'll remove the stuff on the other side once we put it back in. And finally, on to the very, very worrisome part. All right, first, before we do anything, we're going to hit this stuff with paper towel. Do we use alcohol or some of the DAX? Let's check out the DAX and a paper towel to get that thermal compound. Let's see, what's it gonna be? Is it gonna pick it up, or are we gonna have to do it with? I don't know about that. Let's try some of this. Let's see what happens there. I think we just roasted our mat with all this thermal compound on it. That's fine. I think we have a bigger one coming in at some point. That should work for now. Okay, back to this project. So here's sad story. Sad story is that air conditioners are still in, and that season's just about over. I don't think we're getting that cleaned out. Let's try this. Probably not worth it. It bent the tip of our pry tool. And the worrisome part, did we clean out this gunk that was in here? Because it's all over everything. It really is. That, how much of it did we put on for a coil? Like, what's the recommended dose? We're gonna go with a little bit higher intensity stuff on this one. All right, so we do have a little bit, a little bit on the our silicone pads there. I'm not gonna soak it, but I am gonna try and wipe it up just a little bit. I don't know if IPA melts those, so I don't want to do it too much. I would like to try and get that blob off of it, but it's probably not going to end that way. Yeah, it doesn't appear to be. So definitely in order a bunch of new thermal pads. Another thing I found out while doing much reading was combining thermal compound and silicone pads is not beneficial. It's not twice as good at cooling. That the opposite can happen. That's the general consensus if you believe anything you read on the Googles. So that wasn't recommended. I thought it was goofy when I first looked at it and saw it on this particular machine. So yet again, further evidence pointing to somebody else had been in there, whether refurbished or what. I don't know what. I don't know how, who, why, what, when, or not. I don't know nothing. But I do know it was goofy and not, didn't seem like the move. Like it, of all the moves you could make, that didn't seem like it would be the move you would want. All right, now we got to cut our thermal pad for this area, get our thermal gunk applied on the board, and then our CPU and GPU are going to need thermal compound. The stuff I pulled up from this channel, I pulled it into an empty syringe and I labeled it thermal gum. It's really thick, really weird, and it's tacky like a glue. Is it just dried thermal paste? I don't know. I do not know. But it's super thick. We're going to reuse it for here until I get the thermal pads in the bottle of the Arctic MX4. I'm going to use that here, and then the AS5, which I have. I'm getting more of it. AS5 here and here, Arctic MX4 here, new thermal pads the whole way around, and possibly even these. If I don't know if there's 2mm ones in the pack. That's what those are, I believe. Like I said, research from the internet. Forget the grain of salt. You're going to need a bag of salt for this one. Take it with a bag of salt. Because how highly inaccurate is all that stuff that I was reading on this? How inaccurate was all this, you know? So you kind of got to take it for what you will. Let's get this stuff out of the way. And hopefully we can get everything hooked up. What do you say? What do we do first? So the way I was looking at it was if we cut this in half, I still have the outside sticker on. So half of it seems to be about roughly the size of the strip that was there. So we can get that shape out of it there. And then we go one further, that width will be our little square there. And then we put our tacky glue in there. I'm actually going to put it on the coils. Some things that didn't make sense in the picture online, okay, is why only the tape here, but none here? Okay, same thing here. Why only tape here, none here? Well, you have the tape here. If you're trying to keep it from going down in the gaps? Would that not apply here? Why are you putting a thermal glue, thermal compound here and here, but not on these same coils, same type of coils? Why no Kapton tape? So no answers. But hey, so let's take a moment and cut our thermal pads. We'll apply it to the heat sink, and then we'll get ready to flip that whole unit onto here and attach it. All right, final cleaning for the RTX and the i7. Thermal pad. Okay, we have our general map. Right through. Let's remove our plastic and stick down one side, and then we'll peel the plastic for the other. What do we do here? Right, I'm gonna say we apply it right to the coils, and then we'll pull the plastic off. We have our little individual one that we cut. Here we probably not square at that, but with any luck it will work. And all this is an M.2, like an NGFF or NVMe cooling pad for an external enclosure. Not a thick one for like in a system. This is for like an external enclosure. There's that. We have that. We need to apply thermal gunk. Do you think, like, what's the story here? Do we apply it? Where do we apply it? Directly to this? I think we do, just like CPU, GPU. We'll set our board. No, we can't set our board on anything. I think we will set our board down and flip this over onto it. That makes the most sense here. So we'll apply that thermal gunk glue there. And as far as that, everything else is in place that needs to be. So thermal compound. Just to keep that in place, I'm going to cut a couple little pieces of adhesive to glue that down. So actually take that out now. We'll do all the trimming on that very quickly. Second thought, I'm going to put one up each side and let the rest deal with itself. So we got little bits of adhesive on our sticker. Let's go ahead and pop those. That. This resides in this general area with the angled part to the point. It's not perfect, like I said. I cut it by hand. The other one's basically destroyed. Work. Stay in place. All right, thermal pads down. We need to remove those before I forget. Get out of here. We're done with you. Maybe measure thickness. That's about it. That's good. We just need our gummy glue substance. Let's get our screwdriver ready. How much does this stuff do you even put on? That's what I don't understand. But we're going to put some little dots. It doesn't even seem like it wants to stick. What is the tolerances for hitting those to that? We don't know. That's the only place we need that, as far as I know. I could be wrong. It could totally be thermal paste. But until I get more or something suitable that resembles what was there, we're gonna go with, I gotta use what I got. So much for a GPU. Good size P. Little line. Now we gotta figure this out. Which way does it go? That should go. Should. I promise it. Let's line up our screw holes. There's just something telling me that I'm about to have a real bad day or morning. Life, something. I'm gonna put this one in. Seems pivotal. If that's the only one we put in, it would be pivotal. And then we'll land one here. Okay, let's follow our numbers now. So we have 1. Yeah, I did it totally wrong. Okay, so we got 1. 1. Where's 2? No numbers. There's no numbers. Oh my goodness. All right. We're doing 1, 2. We just won't thread them tight. We'll get them basically started. It's over. The show's over. The show's done. Shot. This thing's never going to start up again. So let's tighten down 1. I'm going to say 2. 3. 4. I'm making this up other than 4. And then 5. 6. And then 7. What do we go with? A torque wrench or the camera mechanic drill? You get the torque wrench out or the camera mechanic? Camera mechanic? We got a Phillips bit in it. We could just torque them right down. We'll put it on speed 2 and so click it forward so it's on 2 and then right to drill. We know that it's gonna wind them tight. I think that's the move. Just a little finger tight here, there, you, and you. Okay. Getting those, let's start replacing all this other stuff. Okay, and then we have one on this side that goes under the Kapton tape. There you are. Where did you come from? You don't belong in there. We're gonna be. What are we doing? We're gonna be flipping this upside down. So I think, right? Am I thinking about this correctly? Yes, this has to go upside down because we don't have access to this, the DC jack where it plugs into the motherboard. We're not going to have access to that because the motherboard's flipped in this laptop. It's not normal. Normally the RAM's down, or you possibly get your RAM and other stuff down, heat sinking that down. This one's flipped up. I guess it's inverted. They're backwards. They're flipped. The motherboard's flipped and it's not right. I think that is for heat dissipation. I would hope. Possibly not. I'm probably 100% wrong on that. Keep that bag of salt ready. All right, water spots on the fans, not worried about. On the heatsink, not worried about. Basically, the board has been cleaned. I put that little connector back in place. Those worries alleviated. I'm going to check. So everything, we even did, this is granted, that's where I drug it off the edge, but I can see where that stuff squeezed out a little bit for those coils. So hopefully, what I don't understand though, hopefully it works. What I don't understand is the capped on tape, because that is kind of like, you put it on stuff if you're going to be soldering with hot air to not melt it. So it's kind of like insulative. It's like an insulation instead of a conductive and conducting the heat out. It protects against heat. So why was that on there from a freshly torn down motherboard on Reddit, nonetheless? All right, we'll put the RAM back in, seeing that we're not going to be able to access this much longer. Why are they different sticks of RAM? They're not. Because one's the opposite way. Okay, questions? There's no way. We did that in an hour? 52:43? That's just pure madness. Madness, I tell you. All right. Ready to be laughed at, I suppose. See, the board's flipped. I'm going to go ahead and clean off. Well, did I want to? We're going to clean off some of the gunk on these diodes real quick. Adhesive, thermal compound, whatever happened to have stuck to them. I don't know. I'm going to say that that's good there. I mean, we can keep playing with it until we break it, but let's see how bad we broke it and see if it starts up again. Yes, no, maybe so. We're going to see where it is. Was going to try this lens, but it's, 50 millimeter on an APS-C, or full frame lens on an APS-C body, zoomed way too in. We'd be doing this all night. Just be that. But all that goofy moire, I don't know how you say it, would be gone for sure. All right, how bad did we screw up this computer? That's what I need to know. Probably the worst thing to put back and deal with in the now is this one, the keyboard cable, two, that stupid Wi-Fi card. It's either the card or you suffer dealing with the antennas. You kind of gotta take your pick. And if one of them ripped off, I'm gonna die, because I really don't want to have to solder it back on. Not at this hour. Please, no. All right, let's find out. How bad is it? We are going to put this side in. It has the audio jacks. We have to remember to pull that cable out. Let's start working this side in. Get out of the way. All right, audio jacks. We'll get this back cable pulled out now. It's not impossible to do when the board's down. That, and you also want to leave room to get your wire through. Just where does it go through? That's a good question. Is it down or up? Down or up? Tucked in like that. Okay. I like it. That's out, 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 almost in where it needs to be. And depending on the build, the fit, if it's had a keyboard replaced, you may have to keep that side in. Let me zoom this out just a little. Put your fingers under the middle here. Put this side down in, and then let that drop into place. If it's had anything, like I said, a keyboard replaced without doing the whole palm rest, it's fun tearing one of these down. Let me tell you. Okay, so let's start making all of our initial connections. We have that one. Let's get the back, our power switch back here. We'll leave that up for now. We have to screw down that plate for now. We'll get our backlighting. This one kind of bothered me initially. It doesn't seem like it's in, or that's a there. No, that was it. Okay, there it goes. That goes back to trackpad. Do that now. And we are connected there in our little latch, as far as I know. Still latches. We're definitely inserted. We're going to latch that back down. We'll get the one for our, what was that, our power light, front side power light. All right, there's not much left. We got our Wi-Fi card, keyboard. And when you're putting this together, be careful that you don't snag your keyboard cable on this little post here where the battery screws down. You could put a serious crimp, like bend inside of your cable if you're not careful. All right, let the madness begin. We gotta mangle this wire in there, in the card. We're connected there. Can we get this Yeah, it's not going to stay at all. So do both of those have room to go through? It'd be amazing if they do. I think they might. We'll try it. Okay, Wi-Fi. Where are you? And those two go there. Those two. That's the battery. Hard drives. Wi-Fi. Now, yeah, those wires are being pinched. I'm gonna say pinched off, but not in a good place. So what do we do with them? Which one is longer? It has the bigger bend. Okay, like I thought. Does anybody else hate the connectors on M.2 Wi-Fi cards, Wi-Fi Bluetooth combo card? They're torturously small for old eyes. I don't have confidence that that's going to stay on there at all. I really don't, but we're going to hope. Hopes and prayers here, people. Hopes and prayers, positivity the whole way. Okay? We're missing a few minor things. And our drive's stuck together. Don't peel. That's fine. You were there. What a nightmare. Okay. Yeah, this is probably actually wrong. I don't know which side I should be looking at it from to make this determination. No, I think that's right. I'm fairly certain. I can run the video back and find out from earlier if need be. But I don't think need be. I really don't. I think that's gonna be good. One other thing. Did I just curse myself? I did. There's a screw that goes there that we have to find. Oh no, never mind. No. We have it. We have it. It's here. It's here. Don't fret. I'll tell you why. The silver one has a smaller shank. It's going to go in here onto the metal tie-down plate right here for your DC jack. Make sure that's in place. Screw it down and have this hole lined up. Because when you put your bottom case back on, let's do it this way. Actually do this. With hopefully something that don't get lost. Yeah, that should work. Possible or not is going to be a whole different story. But I think there's one side. Let's get the other. Okay, you want your hole lined up on that metal bracket, which it should, because when you put your bottom case back on, if this is possible, I don't even think this is going to be possible to make the example. Maybe if I put it straight up and down, that may help. When you put your bottom case back on, see that your screw that goes through the bottom case will be the one, and that's, I just inserted that in there just me. Actually, that's the way. That's the, see, if it wasn't late, I wasn't tired, I would have did it like that to begin with. This one, you can see, insert that, then pick it up. Go again. Insert, pick it up. It's your screws through the bottom case, holds that side down. Silver one holds the other. And then your one and only magical screw that holds your motherboard down that I know of from opening up a system that was compromised and opened by others goes there. Now, looking at most of these holes, except for here, think here there could be another screw that goes there because there's not two holes that close together on our bottom case. And it would be right there, right in that general location is where it's missing, right? So we have the screw that comes through the bottom case. There's one here. So I'm going to find a screw the same size as that one and put it in there. Just to give another tie down point for the laptop. Because I I think possibly didn't know all the screws. So let's get in our bin of laptop screws. We're going to find one this size and replace that missing one. Do we take the time and care? Do we put the time and care and dedication into finding one with the same color, the thread lock on it, same type of head? Oh boy, that's a thin one there. What are we going to do about that? Somebody better get writing a letter to Flat Earth saying on this one, because I don't think we're getting this screw out of here. How about we use a shorter one? Wrong size still. Who's in the chat? Yeah, you missed that one, Hector. Sorry, man. That's already been done. This is just a cleanup. I didn't see your. I haven't been watching the chat. It's tired. It's late. I want to go to bed myself, so. We're going to try it. It has a different size head. We're going to give it a shot and see if it fits. It will tighten down without. It does. All right, we're in luck. That worked. While we're here, let's look for any other screw holes that are missing, not lining up with our bottom case. See, I don't watch the chat once I get into something. That one has a spot, and that one has a spot, that one has a spot, and that one has a spot, and that. We have one in for our M.2, and the battery goes there, and one there, and there. They all line up. So, only two screws for your motherboard internally in this, which is not a lot. And we have our dot there, make it match over here with our silver marker. We did get the same color thread lock. Yeah, sorry, man. I always try to watch the chat, but I wasn't tonight. just because the stress level of pulling this thing apart, it's killer, man. I don't like crazy complex computers like this working on them. I suppose it wasn't too horrible bad. Oh, what do we do? Put this down, or do we put the battery in? What it be? What it do? Went to our fans. Let's continue. We have some places that we can get alignment, namely the screw hole, this curve here. This, if it stays stuck, this little pad, if it stays stuck to the motherboard around this socket, then your screw hole there should line up, letting the other ones line up, and your screws will be exposed here and here. Those are the two that hold your motherboard in. Then you have your reset switch, I believe, on the bottom. That appears to be where it's at. Let's go ahead and set our battery in. So this, I was kind of torn on this one too. Did we take and pull the battery up and then let the ribbon cable? I did it like that versus putting it under the battery. When you put it under the battery, it has to bend physically around that post where the battery is being held down. So I left it up. There are some alignment tabs along the bottom where the battery will snap down on them. And then you should have your four remaining silver screws. Tie your battery down. There are more than 4 holes in the battery, but they will be held down by your bottom case in 1, 2 locations and not here. So we're gonna have to find one more screw from there. And I'm wondering, is that not in because an M.2 drive, it would come up and pass it? Okay, so that's good, it's fine. So we're gonna find one more screw like these, because I think there's more than 4. I think there should be 5 of these screws. Missing one here. If so, if all aligns well, I'm gonna go ahead. I don't know. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4 will be this one. Because these two are held down from screws that go through the bottom case. So 1, 2, 3. Cool. Those, all the marks are just to make it easier for me. Any person in the future that may be wrenching on this thing, torquing, turning, tuning, doing, undoing, you name it. It's to help make it easier. And then will this go in and tuck down under there? No. We know it'll be held down in there. But possibly it will go there. So we're missing that spot. Yeah. Your battery cable, quit fighting me. You're gonna lose. I can tell. Well, that's no fun. I can't pick the battery up that way. All right, we undo the center screw to gain a little lift on the battery. And it does clip into the battery there. And then we have another under tab here, it looks like, with quite a kink in our battery cable. It's really supposed to tuck under that? That's insanity at its finest. But you know what? This whole thing's crazy, so let's do it. Yeah, that's just nutty there, man. But hey, it holds the battery wire in place thoroughly. I guess I can't complain too much. That gets that out of the way. I'll try and unfold this. Put it back where it be. Who it go, where it be. Yeah, I think we're getting this back where it goes. But maybe. Let's do that. Don't know if it was right. And that's where I found it, so take it. Seems like maybe it should go there. Hold on. See, you can see the kink in the cable. Slight kink in that cable right there where it hit when it was down under the keyboard. Not cool, man. Not cool. I didn't like it. I didn't like that setup at all. So we have a couple screws to hunt out. Oh, do we even put the bottom case screws on? Honestly, this thing's juiced. It's fried. It's not even gonna fire. We might as well bin this one right now. I know it's not starting up ever again. You kidding me? If it does, I will be amazed. I usually generally don't get that lucky on something that crazy and insane of a teardown. So we need to hunt down the one short screw. It should be this one, shorter than the rest. And then we have one that has some silver paint marker on it, which I'm going to renew that silver paint now. Because it goes, the short one goes there, and this one goes in the factory seal location. It's about time it has some more blue juice. Let's get our, we're not going to do the short one in the center yet. We'll just let it set there. We have all these to do. So yes, as the Hector had asked, this thing did get the keyboard replaced on it. It is a full RGB keyboard. So, you know, they're not cheap items. If you go to buy one when it's in the palm rest, it's a couple $100. So At least for this model of the laptop anyways. Down to the last two. Unreal, unbelievable. So we have one there, and that's it. But as I was saying, yes, the keyboard was replaced. I think to do it properly, I'm going to end up ripping the keyboard back out. Whatever that was, a vicious hunk of something in the eyeball. That was not fun. Crying. I was crying. Wow. That was not fun. Okay, let's try and get this back on one piece. We don't know if we're done yet. We got to take them screws back out. That's going to be just torture at the end of the night. If we don't have to take them, it is victory. It's going to be, you know what, a night at work, a night at work, and then a late night at the other work, well lived. And when we got on my wrist. Okay. Bird. Hopefully. The word. I think I hooked everything up. I may need to plug it in. For some reason, just connecting it back up didn't seem to want to let to power it. Or I really broke it this time and it's not going to power up. Let's get the adapter out. Let's see. We gotta plug it in and spark this thing to life. It's either that or we're about to let the ghost out of. Which one? Did I not hook something up? I know I hooked the fans up. I do believe everything else. What if I missed something? I missed something. I've done it before. We'll get back to it. All right, we have a charge light. And more importantly, we have a power light. We have an MSI logo. And yet, here's one other artifact. One thing I noticed about this system while doing a teardown. We're going to check this out because you can kind of see it. That's not part of the picture. So, whatever got in the laptop And possibly it was something to clean up ink that, you used it to clean up ink. And that's why there's a little bit of black residue, but not much. I don't know. Yes, when you look at it, you can see that artifact running down through the screen. That is not part of the picture. How do I know? How do I know that's not part of that picture? Wait for it. Because we've got 3 of them right there. And it's not in any of those pictures. And it's not a 144 hertz panel. Something got down into the actual panel in between the layers. Possibly, if I was brave and had the tape to be able to undo the layers of the display, untape it, separate them, clean them all. If I even knew what to clean them with, which I don't, mind you, I could probably get that out if it wasn't some type of staining solution. So, there you have it. Let's shut this thing down. Update and shut down, sure. Do it to it. Anyhow, I think I'm going to end this all there. Anyhow, like I always say, if this is your thing, if you get into doing this stuff, working on computers, electronics, tinkering, messing with, goings on, whatever you want to call it, you know how to do it, and somebody needs it done, give them a hand. Get it done, make their device great, make it work again, keep it from going to a landfill or a junk pile, and keep it ultimately from going to the landfill sooner, I guess, is an okay message to end with there. It's what I try to do here. I'm not a pro. I do this stuff for fun mostly. Yes, it's work, but before work, before anything, this is fun. This is successes, the failures. It's all of it is fun before it's anything else. So yeah, if you know how to do it, show somebody else, teach them. Maybe they'll learn something. Fix something up rather than buying new all the time. Anyhow, I'm tired. I don't know the usual sign off for the order. I'm going to end it there. Thank you for clicking the link and coming over. Hector, I'm sorry that I missed your comments in the chat. Generally, I try to watch it. I'm tired. I didn't get it tonight, so hopefully I'll catch you next time in an earlier hour. Anyhow, Hector, anybody else that clicks the link comes over now in the future, thank you. I will see you then. We're ending this stream right here. Have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Enjoy it. Thank you.